What's up everyone? Today I'm gonna be showing you how to complete the Great Taste of Pharloom quest in Hollow Knight Silksong. This quest has you scouring the kingdom for 5 rare delicacies so a chef named Loyal Mergwin can prepare a grand meal for his master, the Great Gourmand. It's one of the most involved quests in the game, but it's worth it as your reward at the end is a Pale Loyal, which lets you upgrade your needle for more damage. Before we start, make sure you're well into the game and have most of Hornet's movement abilities. You'll need the double jump and the clawline grapple to reach some of these items. Also be ready for some tough fights and platforming challenges along the way. If you're all set, let's get into it. The first ingredient we're gonna get is the Mossberry Stew. This one's pretty straightforward. Head to Mosshome, the mossy area above Bone Bottom, which is accessible via the Marrow. There you'll find the Moss Druid, an NPC who cooks up the Mossberry Stew. She'll happily hand over a bowl of Mossberry Stew as soon as you talk to her. This is the easiest of the 5 ingredients. Next up is the Vintage Nectar. Travel to Greymoor and make your way to the halfway house in the center of that region. Inside, speak to the proprietor, an NPC named Crage. He's willing to sell you the Vintage Nectar for 480 rosaries. Pay the man and he'll unlock his basement so you can retrieve the nectar. But heads up, this isn't just a simple fetch, so you may want to rest at the bench in here first. As soon as you drop into the basement and try to pick up the glowing Vintage Nectar, you'll be ambushed by a swarm of red-ant enemies, also known as the Scar Warriors. The walls will burst open and a bunch of them will rush you. Be prepared for an arena fight down here, and a good strategy is to keep moving and take them out one by one until the basement is clear. Once you've defeated all the Scar, claim the Vintage Nectar from the bottom of the basement. Now for the Pickled Muckmaggot, which involves a boss fight. This delicacy is held by Disgraced chef Lugoli, a boss in Sinner's Road. To get this item, you will need to have obtained double jump. If you haven't been to Sinner's Road, make your way to Greymoor and climb the tower on the left of the map. Then head up and take the exit on the right. If you're not sure what path to take, just follow along as I will be showing you the route. Once you reach Sinner's Road, proceed straight forward until you see a sign pointing you in the direction of the bench. Climb up following the sign until you reach the room with the bench, which is also where Chakra the map seller is. The bench will be initially stuck, but you can fix it by climbing the wall behind Chakra and going through the breakable section at the top. You will have to do some platforming, but the path to unlock the bench is straightforward. I have a video that shows the full path in case you need some assistance. From that bench, return the way you came and drop all the way down to the first bench sign that we saw. Proceed ahead into another straight path. At the very end, there's a chute that you need to double jump to reach. Enter it and follow the path that leads to a room with a switch and a locked door. Activate the switch to open the door and create a shortcut. Once you are ready, leap up to the second level here and you'll find an arena with a big dinner gong. Hit the gong to start the fight with Chef Lugoli. When you defeat him, he'll cough up the Pickled Muckmaggot as your prize. The fourth ingredient, the Crustnut, might be the toughest to physically reach. It's hidden deep in a late game area, so brace yourselves. The Crustnut is tucked away in the sands of Karak, a region high above the blasted steppes, and getting there requires the claw line. Here's how you get to it. First, make your way to the blasted steppes using the bellway. Go right from the bellway, passing the nearby bench, then drop down the first gap that you see. Float down, sticking to the left wall until you reach a sign with two needles in the shape of an X. Take this path, which will lead you to a boss fight with the great Conchflies. Once you defeat them, proceed forward and enter the next section. Here you will have to ascend until you reach the Pinstress's balloon where you can rest. From this platform, you can continue to climb higher. This will lead you up into the sands of Karak, a new sandy ancient area. There's no bench immediately at the entrance here until you unlock a shortcut later on, so be careful. This initial section is pretty straightforward. You will have to activate the platforms and make your way across them before they disappear. Eventually, you will reach a central shaft and lots of red, brittle spikes growing everywhere. If it's your first time here, I recommend finding Chakra and purchasing the map from her. You can find her by taking the first entrance to the left as you ascend. Now your goal is to climb up the main shaft of the sands of Karak. Along the way, you have to dodge some hostile bugs and thorny hazards. Eventually, near the very top of this vertical area, you'll spot a cluster of red spiky growths blocking a passage on the upper left wall. Smash those spikes with your attacks to break through the wall. This next part is a test of your platforming skills. Inside the hidden section, the Crustnut is waiting at the end, but you'll have to navigate a gauntlet of tricky jumps to get in. There are more breakable red spike crystals on the walls and ceilings here, which you must smash to create new paths forward. As a note, I will be showing you the path to take, however, I have already destroyed the spiky growths and they do not respawn, therefore you won't see them on my screen. This section can be a bit difficult and might take a few tries, but don't get discouraged if you fail. The Pinstress's balloon you used earlier is your checkpoint, so you can climb back up and try again. After a series of well-timed jumps, grapples, and attacks, you will finally reach a little alcove where the Crustnut is sitting. Grab that crunchy prize as there are 4 ingredients down and 1 more to go. Last but definitely not least is the Courier's Rasher. This one's a whole quest on its own, and it's easily the most challenging ingredient to obtain because it involves a time delivery challenge. To even attempt the delivery, you'll first need to help out 2 NPCs, the Courier brothers Tipp and Pill. Head over to Bellheart and check the quest board to start the My Missing Courier wish. This quest sends you to find Courier Tipp. Tipp was last seen in the lower Shellwood area. Make your way to the Shellwood Bellway and go left until you reach the large gap in the path. You want to jump down here and glide following the left wall. You'll eventually find poor little Tipp hiding from a couple of enemies on a ledge. Defeat those enemies to rescue Tipp. Once they're gone, Tipp will thank you and automatically fly back to Belheart. Now return to Belheart and you'll find Tipp safe and sound on the upper level. Talk to him and he'll mention something about a special delivery, the Courier's Rasher, but he can't do it without his brother's help. This triggers the next part, my missing brother quest to find Courier Pill. Accept that quest from the wish board and get ready to venture out again. Conveniently, Pill is stuck in Sinner's Road, the same area where you fought Chef Lugoli for the Muckmaggot. So let's head back to Sinner's Road. From the Sinner's Road bench, go right into that large room with the maggots and hanging cages once more. This time, climb up towards the upper left corner of the room. There you'll find Courier Pill under attack by a group of nasty enemies. Jump in and fight off the enemies around Pill. Once you've defeated them all, Pill will be safe and will fly off back to Belheart as well. With both brothers rescued, head back to Belheart one more time. Talk to Tipp and Pill together and they'll finally entrust you with the Courier's Rasher, a special package of meat that needs to be delivered all the way to Loyal Mergwyn in the Coral Chambers dining hall. Now the true challenge begins, delivering the rashers on foot under a time limit. As soon as you take the Courier's Rasher, a countdown will start. In Silksong, delivery items like this have a sort of health meter. The meter will gradually tick down over time, and every time you take damage, the rashers will lose a chunk of that meter. If the meter hits 0 before you hand it over, the rasher is ruined and you'll have to start the delivery again from Belheart. So the goal is to race from Belheart to the Coral Chambers with the rasher before time runs out. This is where all your skills and map knowledge come into play. You need to plot a fast route from Belheart back to the Coral Chambers and stick to it. You can't use any fast travel methods, you must leg it on foot the whole way. There are multiple routes that you can take to do this. However, the one that I took and the one that I recommend involves going through Greymoor, the Wisp Thicket, the Underworks, and finally the Coral Chambers. I have a separate video showing you this exact route, so if you want a complete walkthrough, check that video out. Once you reach Loyal Mergwyn at the dining hall, you will be able to turn in all the items at the same time. He'll thank you for all your hard work and proceed to cook up the grand feast for his master, the Grand Gourmand. After a brief scene of the big meal being enjoyed, of which we don't get a taste, Mergwyn will reward you by opening a container next to him. Inside is the pale oil that we've been seeking, your prize for completing this epic quest. And that's it. You've successfully completed the Great Taste of Pharloom, one of Silksong's lengthiest and most rewarding quests. I hope you guys found this walkthrough helpful and enjoyable. If you did, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Hollow Knight Silksong tips and guides. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.